Okay. Hello, my name is Michaela. I have had CFS for 5 years. I have been very severe and I am now getting better. I spent a very long time, which might sound like not very long at all to some of you, but what felt like a very long time trying to figure out how to get better. And I have tried and failed so many times and have absorbed so much information that I thought, let me see if I can make this easier and simpler for other people, help them skip some of the trial and error that I went through. I think that I'm pretty good at absorbing information and then synthesizing it and putting it back out there in a way that other people can understand really easily. And so I thought I would give that a shot. I am not a specialist, I'm not a scientist, but I do have the credibility of having CFS and trying a million things and getting better because of the things I tried, not just on accident. And yes, there was luck, but there are, I think, tried and true ways that are supported in the research that you can see over and over and over again anecdotally that I think can work for people. And I don't have all the answers, but I just wanted to humbly offer what I've learned and show you just a little bit of where I've been and where I am now and how I got there. Okay, so let me open up my PowerPoint real quick. Okay. So, like I said, I had severe CFS. This was back in 2018. I had to be spoon-fed. I could not even lift the spoon to my mouth. Just getting food down my throat was challenging because of the total lack of appetite. This was just my life. This was pretty much every day. I did not have the energy to even watch television or read or listen to music. I went down to about 104 pounds. I was just, falling apart. I tried this neck brace approach. I've been diagnosed with Chiari and EDS and scoliosis and, all sorts of stuff. But this is me now. I am doing well. I am active. I can climb trees. I can swim. I am now in grad school. I can swim. I swim regularly. I golf. Or at least I go to the driving range. Starting to hopefully golf soon, but swimming laps regularly, going to the driving range regularly. This video might be a little jumpy, but anyways, just trying to offer a little bit of proof of, hey, this is me, this is where I've been, this is where I'm at now. So here is not necessarily just in this video. This video is mostly just going to provide the context, but I want to show you in a series of videos, starting with this one, how I got there. This one, unfortunately, I'm not going to start providing the answers quite yet, and I'm never, ever, ever going to charge you money, I promise. My goal in this is to put this on the internet for free so that everybody can have it. I think it's ridiculous that these programs charge you so much money for something that's like, all we really need to get better is information, and if we just had that information, we could get better, and yet people want to charge you money. However, it is very, very complex, and so I want to do it right. I want to do it carefully. I don't want to just throw a million, bits of information at you at once. I want to do it clearly, and so that's why I'm going to take my time. I understand some of you are like very, very desperate to get better, and so I'm going to share what I learned as quickly as I can. I also have to pace myself. I want to do my best. So this video will just be kind of laying out what I used, which is graded exposure therapy. And first I'm going to point out in this video why graded exercise therapy does not work a lot of the time and why sometimes it does. So graded exercise therapy, or GET, I think is not a great term because the word exercise is, to most of us, like, I can't even lift a spoon to my mouth. Why are you talking about exercise? It's almost laughable, right? And so I think a better term for this is graded exposure therapy. So It often doesn't work. It can make you worse. I know a lot of people have gotten worse, but then there's also cases where it does work. So why is that? Okay, so here, let me move my little screen so you can see better. Okay, so let's say here's a scale of capacity. Now I gotta touch this again. Okay, up here, this is, you can work full time. You could run a marathon. You could do anything a normal person can do. This is someone who lives a normal life is up here. Okay, here is kind of where I'm at right now, which is like working part-time. You can exercise. I don't work part-time, but I am in grad school, so that kind of is what I'm counting this as. I can exercise, but within limits. I still have to restrict my social life, but I do have a robust social life. I go out every weekend. I even go out on weekdays. I am leaving the house, a dozen times per week or more. It's semi-normal, but within limits. And then down here is, you can't work at all, not even part-time. You need help just with your survival needs. You're bedbound. And this is where I used to be. And this is probably where a lot of you guys are. So let's just assume this is where you are. Let's just be conservative in our assumptions. So here's how it typically goes. A doctor comes along and he's like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Just, bump your activity levels up just a little bit. And then the next week, just bump them up a little bit more. The next week, just keep going. And then boom, in a few months, you'll be working part-time. You'll be running marathons. You'll be doing anything you want to do. You'll just, this is so easy. You're welcome. Now, give me $1,000. Give me $10,000. Okay. That's not how it works. And there are a lot of people, I would say probably the vast majority of medical professionals don't understand CFS. A lot of, physical therapists will say, why is this so much more difficult? Why? This is how it works for everybody else. Why isn't it working for you? Like, why are you messing this up? And it's like, well, CFS is a vastly, vastly, vastly complex illness, which most people don't understand. They kind of equate it with just, oh, you're chronically fatigued. Well, everyone's chronically fatigued, and that's what's unfortunate about the name of the illness. But okay, so that does not usually work. Sometimes, occasionally, you get lucky and it does work. But here's the thing. It can work. I think we've all seen it work before. And I think it's hard for some of us to understand, why is it working for some people? For some people, it doesn't work at all. For some people, it makes them worse. What's the deal? And I'm not here to cram graded exercise down your throat. Remember, I'm one of you. I've been through the severe stages. I'm still, experiencing chronic fatigue syndrome. I still experience crashes to a much, much lesser extent than I did before. And so I just want to humbly put forth my theories on why it works sometimes, why it doesn't work other times. Again, I don't like the term graded exercise therapy. I would prefer the term graded exposure. And I do think it can work if it's done right, if it's done wisely, and if it's done with a robust understanding of chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, whatever you call it. Okay, so it's got to be done right. That's really, really, really difficult to do. I'm going to explain in this video why. So let's say this is your capacity scale again, okay? Up here, working full-time, normal life, this is more moderate, and this is severe. Okay, again, here's you. Here's problem number one, okay? The range that you need to hit, the range of activity level that you need to hit in order to get better is a very, very narrow range. So let's say this is the range of activity that you need to kind of increase into in order to get better. Let's call it your sweet spot, okay? So let's say that you try to hit that sweet spot. You were suggested graded activity, and you go, or graded exercise or graded exposure or whatever, and you go, okay, let me try and increase my activity levels, bump it up a little bit, and start doing some sort of something that pushes me slightly out of my current zone. Okay, so let's say you increase it to this pink line right here. Okay, well, guess what? That was too little. It wasn't enough change. It wasn't enough newness for your body to adapt to anything. And so you don't see a change, nothing happens, and you're like, okay, well, that didn't work. So next time, what do? Well, you go way, way higher. You go up to this line, and as you can tell, that's way outside of your sweet spot on the other end, way too high. And of course, what happens? Everybody knows it's too much. You get overwhelmed, you crash, or your body gets overwhelmed. It's not an emotional mental response. I'm not suggesting that in any way, shape, or form. Um, and you can't learn safety. And so again, sorry, trying to figure out where to put my video so you can see everything. You can't learn safety. And of course, if your body's not getting put into a place where it feels safe, it's not going to adapt. It's going to say, I got to get out of that. That caused a stress response. It must be stressful. And it reinforces this false assumption that increased activity is dangerous. Okay. So the two problems are you either do too little, there's not enough newness for your body to adapt to, or you do too much, and that's too overwhelming for your body. You have this huge stress response, and your body goes, see, I knew it. I knew too much activity was too much. It's not safe. It overwhelmed my system. We're not doing that again. And that's not great. Okay. All right, problem number 2. Let's say that you are trying to find your range and you finally find it, but guess what? That range changes every single day. So your sweet spot could be here on Monday, but on Monday, if you do a little too much, well, then on Tuesday, your sweet spot's down here. And on that day, you really just need to rest and do less than usual because your capacity has decreased. But then let's say Wednesday, for whatever reason, you take some magic supplement or you have a really good day diet-wise or whatever the context is, it's a great day for you. Well, now your sweet spot's up here. And so not only is this range narrow and difficult to find, but it doesn't stay in one spot. It's constantly moving. And so the range of activity that you need to be hitting to get your body to adapt is different every single day. And that will drive you crazy because it's exhausting to figure that out. So it's difficult to learn where your sweet spot is because it's changing every single day. Okay. Problem number 3. If you are in the severe, oopsies, if you're in the severe down here, that means that just trying to survive, like feeding yourself, bathing yourself, maybe even, if you have a family, taking care of your family, just daily survival needs are pushing you outside of your comfortable zone or the zone in which you won't crash and putting you in way past your zone and causing you to crash. So forget about too little. You're constantly dealing with this too much. Every single thing you do just to survive pushes you out of that and causes you to crash. Okay, well, how can you focus on getting better when just living another day is causing you to crash, right? So let's say this is you. Again, you're in this can't work at all. You need help with every survival task, eating, bathing, etc. Okay, so here's your sweet spot. Okay, but just to feed yourself, you've got to push yourself out of this zone because we don't all have the resources to have somebody make our meals, and even if they are making our meals and spoon feeding us, some of us are in such severe shape that eating itself is too much. Okay, so, again, this feeding yourself, bathing, survival needs, it's too much, causes your body to become overwhelmed. It induces a stress response. You crash, and again, you can't learn safety. Your body cannot adapt to safety when it is being put into a stress response. So let's call this too much your crash zone. And actually everything above this pink line, everything above your sweet spot is the crash zone. So everything up here, if you increase your activity to anything above this pink line, you're in the crash zone. And again, you're in this too much zone. And that is probably the most frustrating, discouraging thing when you can't even meet your basic needs without causing yourself to crash. And I've been there and it sucks. And if that's where you are, I think there are probably things that can be done. Okay, so essentially what we need is You need to stay out of your crash zone consistently. Okay, and this is what I will get into detail in the following videos. Um, I'm just going to outline kind of the general idea of what's needed, and then in the future videos, I'll try to outline those really carefully. So you need to get out of the crash zone consistently. You can't get better if you are constantly going over into the crash zone and causing yourself to crash. You just can't, okay? Because it's reinforcing this pattern your body's gotten into of interpreting activity as dangerous. So you need to get your body to stop inducing that stress response, and then you find your baseline. Okay, but you can't stay at that baseline because you can also get stuck there if you stay there too long. So the next thing you need to do is you need to find the sweet spot of your activity levels that you need to hit. And once you've found that sweet spot, you need to figure out, how do I find that sweet spot every single day? Because like I said, it's going to change, it's going to go up and down, and it's going to take a while. It's going to be frustrating, and it's going to require patience, but you can do it. I am currently doing it. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I still have bad days. It's still challenging. But like I showed you in the beginning of the PowerPoint, I'm making tremendous progress, and I think you can too. So I want to do this right, like I said. In the following videos, I want to go into as much detail as I can about how to do those 3 things that I just showed you to avoid the 3 problems. And again, I'm not a specialist, but I will give you everything I've learned. I will offer as much help as I possibly can. I will recommend, I'm not a specialist, I'm not a scientist, but if I were you, this is the kind of specialist that might be able to help you in this department, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I want to also explain the graded exposure and how I think that can help you. So thank you for watching this. I look forward to explaining more and sharing more of my, journey or whatever. And I'm rooting for you guys. And I know that you can get better. I believe it 100%. And I wish you the best of luck.